Welcome back this Saturday night. The Genius of Ravel taking place. KSO performance. We have with us today Lucas Porter, who is the guest soloist playing with the KSO. He is a pianist. He's 24 years old and very accomplished at what he does. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're based out of Montreal.
Yes, I live in Montreal now, originally from Port Williams, Nova Scotia. Port
Williams, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I've not heard of Port Williams. Is it a small town?
It's a very small town. Yeah, very small town.
What got you into playing the piano? You were 6 years old when you started.
I was 6 years old. I just started taking lessons like most other people, but I became very passionate about it, and I remember hearing Beethoven's Pathétique Sonata for the first time, and I thought, gee, this may be better than the Backstreet Boys.
Wow.
So for me, that was mind-blowing at the time, and so yeah, I just kept going with it. And yeah.
Classical music speaks to you, obviously.
Yes.
It's something that stirs your soul. Are your parents musicians as well?
They are musicians. My mom played a bit of classical guitar and piano. My dad some guitar, and they both sing. And they actually wrote some of their own music and performed on the radio locally back home when they were young. So.
24 to me seems young, relatively speaking, to the life of a musician. It's sort of you're early in your career. Do you get nervous when you're out there? Like tomorrow night, or rather Saturday night when you're playing? That is tomorrow night. When you're playing with an orchestra, do you get nervous, or are you more nervous on your own?
I would definitely say more nervous on my own, because if something goes wrong, it's all on me. With the orchestra, you know, you have some support. It's nice to be on stage with other musicians. It takes some of the attention off of you,
right,
which is nice. But typically I don't get very nervous for performances. I'm not sure why, but...
You like playing for an audience?
I do.
Yeah.
I love performing, yeah.
We have some video of yours we're going to go to in a second, and you're playing in Japan here. It was a competition about a year and a half ago, is that right?
Yeah, it was the Sendai International Competition.
Were you nervous for this?
I was a bit nervous for this.
Right. It's very dramatic, this music.
Yeah. I was starting with the Firebird Suite by Stravinsky, and it's a tough piece.
Okay.
So to go out and start with that was a bit nerve-wracking.
Getting thrown into the fire. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you watch yourself play?
I mean, it's interesting. It's not my favorite thing to do, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I know what I'm thinking as I'm playing, and it's kind of weird when you see other people play. You don't know what they're thinking.
Sure,
so.
But you must be absolutely tuned out to everything but just what's going on in front of you, right?
Yeah,
it's like so intense. Like you hit every key on the piano, it looks like.
Yeah, you certainly can't lose focus, or you're in big trouble. Yeah.
No. Yeah. How long would it have taken to master this piece?
This piece, honestly, was probably the hardest one I've ever learned.
Yeah.
Before this, I had about 4 or 5 months to learn it, and that was just enough time for that one.
So what kind of music do you like to play the best? I mean, as opposed to what you're doing this weekend, would it be the same sort of theme as this, or is it very different?
Ravel, there's a bit of an influence here, because Stravinsky is neoclassical, like Ravel is as well.
Yes.
And rhythmically, it's very, very interesting. I love to play pretty much any style, you know, Chopin especially. It's so well written for the piano. But Beethoven, Prokofiev, even Elton John, Billy Joel, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Not classical.
So if you are the guest soloist, how many performances tomorrow night within the concert will you play?
Tomorrow night I'm just playing one piece.
Okay.
It's Ravel's Piano Concerto in G major. And then the orchestra is also performing George Gershwin's An American in Paris, and also Mussorgsky, Pictures at an Exhibition.
Fantastic. So you're in town for basically less than a couple of days? You're here
I leave on Valentine's Day.
Do you? And then you're heading back somewhere else. You're on the road a lot.
Montreal. Yeah.
Good for you. Well, it's lovely to have you here. I always feel uninformed when I'm asking musicians about their trade, but you've been very nice and easy on me, so thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tomorrow night, this is going to be taking place at Sagebrush Theatre, The Genius of Ravel, and Lucas Porter from the East Coast originally will be the guest soloist. So if you'd like to take that in, you can get your tickets at kamloopslive.ca. We are back after a quick break. Stay with us.